Hello, listeners. Welcome to Hear Me Speak. It's Casey here. Today, I wanted to talk about how death is not the opposite of life, but that death is just a part of our everyday living. Now, waking up a few days ago to hearing the news about the YouTuber Nicole Thea and her unborn child having passed away, and that also the grandson of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, also killed himself, and he was 27. And that the actor John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, who is an actress herself, she died from breast cancer. And then there was the football player, the Tottenham player, Serge Aurier. I think that's how you say his name, I'm not sure. His younger brother, Christopher Aurier, who's also a footballer himself, was killed at a nightclub in France. Then there was the Glee actress who had been missing and her body was found. Her name was Naya Rivera. Now, death becomes all of us eventually, but the shock isn't that people died. I think it's the way in which it happened. Now, we all know about the cycle of life, and no one is expected to live forever. But death isn't something that we try to think about if we can help it, unless, of course, you're dealing with something terminal or it's on your mind a lot, particularly for people who may have suicidal tendencies. Now, the sudden death of Nicole Thea, to me, was made worse because she was 8 months pregnant. And if you're like me, when you heard the news, my mind started to wonder as to, first of all, the cause of her death, because it was such a shock and it just seems like it was so sudden. And then, of course, I started to think about her baby. I started to think that had her baby been born now, the baby would have been fine, because at 8 months pregnant, all the danger stages have passed. And premature babies are born every day and they live perfectly healthy. So the suddenness of everything is what I found shocking and difficult for my mind to understand. Now, the actress Kelly Preston, John Travolta's wife, the news of her death from breast cancer was also a surprise to a lot of people because her illness was never disclosed. I mean, they are Scientologists by religion, so maybe that had something to do with it and it's part of their belief. Now, John Travolta has a lot of fans, myself included, ever since I watched the movie Grease. His wife's death is another reminder that even those that we admire or that we like from afar also go through adversities like everybody else, and that nobody is immune from pain. Now, Christopher Aurier, the Tottenham football player's younger brother, he went out with friends for the night to enjoy himself at a nightclub. And there, somebody gunned him down and killed him. Now, this is a young man who literally had the world at his feet. His death was violent and senseless. And because obviously you don't wake up and go to a nightclub and not imagine that you're going to go home at the end of it. So whatever the motive of the person who killed him, it really doesn't matter to me at this point because he's dead. This was a senseless and violent act that I still can't get my head round, even how many days later of having heard the news. And as far as I'm concerned, whoever did this will not have peace. And I hope that they never find peace. Now, people are dying or are being killed every day in different parts of the world. So again, death is nothing new. And it is a part of life that we just don't have any control over. Now, I saw a lot of messages on social media about this, which some people call the day of death. That's how it was coined. And some people were cussing the year 2020. Some even said that they wish 2020 was over. Others were lamenting on how 2020 is the worst year of their life so far. And then there are those who wish that 2020 didn't happen. Now, it's okay to feel incredible sadness when we hear news of celebrities dying or feeling shocked at the way things have happened, or, how young the person was, or in the case of Nicole, the fact that she was pregnant. But to wish away your time here on earth, I don't think that's right. Because as long as you're alive and you're well, life is part of death. Unfortunately, is just part of existence. And saying that you wish that time didn't exist or should stop, it will not make any difference to what the life cycle effectively. So now babies are being born every day, again, in all parts of the world. Some we know, some we never know. But I think that that's the whole point, that we know that life is precious. So it's almost as if where one is leaving the earth, another one is being born. I don't know. I guess that's my way of trying to make sense of the whole thing, that life is precious. After all, what's the alternative? Is it to wish your life away? Would you rather not be here? Would you rather be here with everything that's happening? Now, the Glee actress, Naya Rivera, whose 4-year-old son was found, and obviously her body then turned up days later. That in itself was terrible. Again, it was in the way she died. It was a shock, and people are still trying to get their heads around it. Now, many people have questioned God and how is he meant to be merciful and all forgiving and all loving, but still allowing so many tragedies to be happening. And those who don't believe in God just say, well, that's life. So I say the same thing in terms of, irrespective of whatever you believe, whether you believe in God or not, it is just life. And this life is the one we all have. We have one life, and it's not a dress rehearsal, and there is no do-over. Every day we read or we hear sayings about things like, people should stop and smell the roses, live life as if the day is your last, or live your life to the fullest. Or if you don't like the path that you're on, why don't you create one, rise above the storm? And of course, the one we all hear all the time, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade, and so on. But how many of us really stop to actually smell the roses, metaphorically? How many people truly live their life each day to the fullest? Honestly, not many, because we always hope for tomorrow. Even when we know that tomorrow isn't promised to anybody, we still live life making plans for tomorrow or next week or next year and so on. Now, I'm not saying that we should all go and empty our bank accounts and go blow away, our rent money or mortgage money or your savings, or, go have some sort of major blowout. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just thinking that life is fleeting, and that all those people who have recently passed, they also had hopes. They also had plans. Some of them, they closed their eyes and they did not wake up. We have a young man who goes to a nightclub just enjoying himself and his life is taken. We have a young woman who is pregnant, getting ready to have her child and start her life as a family. And this happens. We have a woman who goes for a swim with her son, and then a few days later, her body is being pulled out. We have a woman, who is married, going through an illness, thinking that she will survive, that she might beat it, and she doesn't. Life is very, very precious. That's what I'm saying. And there is more to life at the end of the day than chasing views or hustling for followers or wanting a lot of people who post near naked pictures of themselves to go viral in the hope that, being recognized or being somewhat famous will give some sort of importance to their life. I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it depends on what people want. There is more to life than living in negativity and feeding misery, whether you're in a relationship, whether it's in a job, whether that's in a friendship, or even within a family dynamics. Change can only happen if you decide to do something about it, and it's not going to happen magically. So to me, because life is unpredictable and that the circle of growth and death, none of us know when it's going to be our time to step off the carousel, so to speak. So because of that, I think it's important that people be content with themselves. People should find happiness. And if they don't know how to do that, then I think you should just simply ask yourself the following question. Were I not to wake up tomorrow, am I happy with the way my life is, or am I happy with who I am? And I think that the answer should then help you know which path you need to take. As usual, thanks for listening. Share this video if you will. Take care.